hypertension is and isolated systolic and diastolic. There are two characters. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys are recording the session,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why you wanted to hear later on? Fine. Okay. Okay. Stage 1 it's isolated systolic. Stage 1 systolic hypertension with BP of 130 to 139 and diastolic 80 to 89. Fine. Stage 2 is more than 140 and more than 90 systole and diastole. Right? Okay. There are other conditions. You have isolated systolic hypertension and isolated diastolic hypertension. Can anyone tell me the cause? One cause at least isolated diastolic hypertension. Hello? You're there, right? You people are?
Old age due to arteriosclerosis.
No, it's mostly, no. The cause, it's a systolic hypertension also occurs there in old age. Somewhere related to drugs. Most commonly, we are giving here nowadays the phase wave going on, no? COVID. Which drug you are giving, which will increase hypertension?
Steroids.
Hello? Yeah?
Steroids.
Corticosteroids. Fine, good. Why the steroids are increasing the diastolic BP alone? Can you tell me? Due to what? Diastolic BP is due to physiology. Diastolic BP.
Peripheral resistance, ma'am. Peripheral resistance.
Yeah, peripheral vascular resistance will be there. What happens when you give steroids? Aldosterone will be increased. So you get vasoconstriction, right? Sodium and water retention and vasoconstriction, right? Okay. So there is peripheral vasoconstriction and you get increased diastolic BP, fine? So there are the 4 stages which includes elevated BP is 120/90 systole normally, not before stage 1, and diastole is less than 80. Okay. 1 second. How can I go back to my? Okay, 1 second. Hello. Can you hear me, Pa?
Yes, ma'am.
We go back to where is the first page? Okay. So stage 1 is 130 to 139 systolic, and diastolic is 80 to 89. And once again, when you are recording, no, please don't share it anywhere unless it's saved in our department. It's fine. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know whether we can give that permission. Okay, we have to ask our department. Fine?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So, where are we? Yeah. Stage 1 is 130 to 139. This is as per AHA guidelines, American Heart Association guidelines, what I'm saying now. Okay? This table. Stage 2 is more than 140 with the systolic and the diastolic more than 90. Fine? With that is full-blown stage 1 and stage 2 hypertension, systemic hypertension. Hypertensive crisis is more than 180. Fine? So you have to treat the patient immediately. More than 180 of systolic and more than 120 of diastolic. Okay? So there are other classifications which include JNC 7, 8. 8 has already come, which includes the differences they say in JNC 7 as pre-hypertension compared to 2017, it says as elevated BP. The name itself different. That's all. And stage 1 hypertension referred as pre-hypertension in JNC 7. Okay. So the stage 1 is for more than 140 epithelial and more than 90 diastole. Stage 2 is more than or equal to 160 systole and more than 100 diastole. Okay. So how can you measure the BP? Can anyone tell me how you will measure the BP? Hello? You guys are there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How can you measure the BP for a person?
Sphygmomanometry, ma'am.
Right. How will you measure that? The cuff should be?
The length of the cuff should be 80% of the arm circumference. And
Who is answering? Your name, doctor?
Anashwara, ma'am.
Or the same? You presented, no?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, more than? How much is that?
It should
Can you
be,
repeat?
the arm circumference should be, the length of the cuff should be 80% of the arm circumference.
Okay, then or 2/3 you can say.
2/3, yes, ma'am.
Then, yeah, and also for obese, very morbid obese patients, the BP will show it as, when you measure it with a regular BP apparatus, it will give a false high value, right?
Okay.
Okay, and you can't use it for kids also. Kids are more towards adolescent people, the adult BP apparatus. Okay, and you have to measure more than 2 occasions or 2 different occasions with the 2 different readings. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then let's go to. Can anyone tell me what is ABPM? I didn't give here. Can anyone tell me? Can you see the slide? ABPM.
Blood pressure monitoring.
Yeah. Why we need to do ambulatory blood pressure monitoring? Why is it needed? Daytime, nighttime. Why is it needed? Why we have to measure that?
Due to variation in the BP.
Yeah, due to variation in the BP. Why it is occurring? When it will be high, normally for hypertensive patient, when the BP is high.
Morning.
Morning, sure.
Noon, ma'am.
Night time, the BP will be high. Okay. So when a patient comes to you in the evening or morning time, it will be less compared to that. Fine. Can anyone tell me why the BP is high in the night? Hey, did you guys find the answer for whatever I taught you? Those 60 candidates, medicine posting candidates. I told you to check for some questions, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you remember the question? Or you found the answer?
We are finding the answers, ma'am.
Yet to find. Okay. So, ambulatory BP is important is because of varying of blood pressure between the day and night time. And you need to check the mean blood pressure of both daytime BP and nighttime BP. It should be daytime BP, which will be 130/80, and nighttime it will be comparatively daytime it will be less, 110 and 65. So if it is more than 110/65 itself with hypertension, that's why I told night time if the BP is higher than this normal low value, then it is hypertension, even though it is 120/80. Okay, it's very important. Night time you should not have higher BP, which will be normally recorded in the daytime also. Fine. Can you understand that what I'm saying?
I didn't get you.
So why could see night time normally the BP will be low compared to the daytime BP, but that itself, 120 it is normal BP if you take it. Okay, so that itself is high if it is present in the night time after
Yes,
11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Fine. It
Yes.
itself is hypertension, stage 1 hypertension. I mean, okay. It's really important because most of the antihypertensive drugs you have to give in the night only to prevent this hypertensive BP. Also, only in the evening the coagulation factors are increased. The patient more atherosclerosis or the statins, you know, no, you will be given only in the night time, bedtime. You know that, right? For hypercholesterolemia, statins we will give no to prevent atherosclerosis. Because all these are increased in the night time only, fine? All these events are increased in the night time only, okay? The clinical point I'm saying, okay? What is the white coat hypertension? Whenever the patient sees us, the BP is high, okay? So what is masked hypertension?
High BP at home and normal BP at
Yeah, at the office, opposite, okay? But usually white coat occurs, okay? So, how will you classify not on drugs when the patient has BP of more than 180 and less than 1, what is BP? Less than 100 initial BP. After 3 months, you have to give a trial of lifestyle modification. So, and also you can suspect white coat hypertension. In that case, do ambulatory blood pressure monitoring and do the mean blood pressure measurement, which is less than 130/80 means initially you won't treat the patient, fine. You have to give lifestyle modification. Then after lifestyle modification, even still with the ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, it is if it is high, you have to treat. If it is low, if it is low, you can go in for again lifestyle modification. Okay, and with the ambulatory BP monitoring. Okay, and if the office BP is 120/30 less than 180 after 3 months of trial, you suspect masked hypertension. You measure with again ambulatory BP monitoring. If it is more than 130/80, it's called masked hypertension because it is not present when we see, but it is high when it is in ambulatory BP, ABPM. Okay, so you have to start the drug. Fine. How will you start the drug? How will you check? How will you treat the patient starting? What are all the drugs we can give to the patient?
ACE inhibitors, no?
Yeah, it depends on the age. Okay, it depends on the age, conditions associated with the patient, and allergies or some drugs will be contraindicated. There are drug interactions who are already on other drugs, and it's very important to rule out secondary hypertension. Fine. What is primary hypertension? What is primary hypertension? Can anyone tell me?
Is it interaction
There
between
is
environmental
an
and
entity
genetic
called
cause?
primary and secondary, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what is
It is
primary
due
hypertension?
to interaction between environmental and genetic causes. That's right.
Yeah, you don't have a underlying condition, secondary condition, underlying condition like, can anyone tell me one cause? Secondary
renal
hypertension.
cause. Renal cause of
What
hypertension.
is that renal cause? Tell me the diagnosis. I told you that day, no?
Chronic
Glomerulonephritis.
Chronic kidney disease.
CKD.
CKD, simple. CKD will go in for hyperaccelerated hypertension, pulmonema, right? I told you that day, no? Okay. So, other than CKD,
Renal
you have
artery
conditions like renal artery stenosis, then correct hyper, what is that? Hyperaldosteronism. Pheochromocytoma.
Con syndrome.
Pheochromocytoma. Okay, fine. Then other conditions.
Cushing syndrome.
Which one? What is the syndrome called?
Cushing syndrome and Conn syndrome, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Cushing syndrome. Right. Okay. Okay. So primary is you don't have any cause, right? Okay. So primary, you have all the factors. You have to reduce the sodium and physical activity, reduce physical activity, triggering factor, family history of hypertension, age, alcohol consumption. Also smoking. Smoking I left here. Smoking is there, right? Okay. Secondary hypertension. What else we left is obstructive sleep apnea. Aldosterone we said no. Coarctation of aorta we left that. Can anyone tell me any drug which causes hypertension? Illicit drug use.
NSAIDs.
F1 படிப்பீங்களா? F1
Amphetamines.
Cocaine.
Cocaine,
Yeah,
amphetamines.
Very good. Okay. So other causes are endocrine. Even in endocrine disorder, you get hypertension. What type of hypertension you get in hypothyroidism? Can anyone tell me? I asked you know first question. And I start the class. Causes of which BP?
Isolated diastolic hypertension.
Yeah, isolated diastolic hypertension, right? Okay. So you have lot of drugs that causes elevated BP. Caffeine also will elevate BP. If it is more than abuse, more than 3 drinks, 4 drinks. Okay, fine. Then NSAIDs. You told no, someone told NSAIDs, OCP. Okay, so you have to rule out these things, especially when the patient is very young. Okay, because otherwise we will be treating the patient will be taking in sideways, patient will be taking these drugs or the underlying condition. If we don't treat, we can't manage the patient with antihypertensive. Fine. Okay. Then we go for secondary hypertension. You rule out the all causes. Okay. When will you suspect secondary hypertension in adults? And that is nuanced uncontrolled hypertension, and there will be so drug induced abrupt onset hypertension or age less than 30 years or exacerbation of previously controlled hypertension. Previously controlled hypertension, they will go in for CKD. Fine. So the BP again will shoot up. Okay. And again hypokalemia. For why we have to check for hypokalemia? Can anyone tell me the condition associated with secondary hypertension with hypokalemia?
Hyperaldosteronism.
You don't know? Just no.
Hyperaldosteronism.
Yeah. Hyperaldosteronism and most important, someone told
Cushing syndrome.
Cushing syndrome. Yeah, Cushing. Right? Okay. We don't have much time now, so I'm saying till 2:30 or 2:40 can I take or till what time? 2:30 or? Okay, let me finish the slide so that we reach. Okay.
We have a class at 3 o'clock now.
3 o'clock. Okay. You have all people had lunch. Okay. Screen for secondary hypertension. So treat accordingly. Fine. Okay. What is the complication of hypertension? Left ventricular hypertrophy, heart failure, ischemic stroke, ICH, ischemic heart disease, CKD, and end stage. Right? Okay. What are all the tests you have to do for primary hypertension? Just tell me. Whatever the causes we told, no? All the corresponding investigation you have to do. Sodium, echo for cardiac, thyroid for hypothyroidism. Fine? Serum sodium for CKD, Liddle syndrome, and Cushing disease. And lipid profile, accelerated atherosclerosis is there or not. And CBC. Why we need to see CBC? Why do we need to see CBC? Complete blood count. Hello?
To look for anemia.
Very good.
As kidney problem, erythropoietin secretion would not have.
Yeah. BP will be high. Erythropoietin will raise BP or reduce BP?
It raises BP, ma'am.
Yeah, rise of BP. So you have to be careful. Fine. Side effect. Then CBC la what else we can see? Complete bed clones. Total count, hemoglobin, ESR, platelets. Again, for all mostly related to CKD and CAD only. Thrombocytopenia will occur in CKD. Fine. Okay. So dietary, non-pharmacological management is you have to reduce the salt, give potassium. Which fruit has got large potassium? Especially when we give large meal.
Banana.
Yeah. Why we are giving a banana in நம்ம சாப்பிடும்போது இலையில வைப்பாங்கல்ல விரும்பல, ஏன் வாழைப்பழம் வைக்கிறாங்க யாருக்கா தெரியுமா? லாஸ்டா வைப்பாங்க, ஆனா அது மற்ற ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் வைக்க மாட்டாங்க. பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா கல்யாண வீட்டுல எல்லாத்துலயும்? கரெக்டா? எல்லாரும் சாப்பிட்டுருக்கீங்களா இல்லையா கல்யாண வீட்டுல?
எஸ் மேம்.
சாப்பிட்டுருக்கீங்களா? அது மட்டும் யாராவது வாய்ச்சி நல்லா வருது. ஏன் வாழைப்பழம் வைக்கிறோம் சொல்லுங்க? நாட் ரிலேட்டட் டு ஹைப்பர் டென்ஷன். ஐ மீன் ஜஸ்ட் எல்லாரும் தூங்கிடுவீங்களோன்ட்டு பயமா இருக்கு எனக்கு கிளாஸ். நிறைய லார்ஜ் மீல் நம்ம என்ன எடுத்துப்போம்? நம்ம இந்தியன்ஸ், தமிழ் என்ன? கார்போஹைட்ரேட். What will happen for a normal people who takes carbohydrate, large meal carbohydrate? என்ன ஆகும்?
Insulin will be released and that's why potassium will be reduced in the body.
ஒரு சொங்கி போன மாதிரி ஆயிடுதுல. potassium will reduce ஆனா என்ன ஆகும் மசில்ல?
So there will be fatigue, kind of
weakness.
Yeah, weakness.
Muscle cramps.
நல்லா முஷ்டியா சாப்பிடுறவங்க என்ன ஆகும்? இன்சுலின் அவனுக்கு நல்லா இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். அந்த காலத்துல நல்லா வேலை செய்வாங்க இல்லையா, நம்மள மாதிரி கிடையாது. அவங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் இன்சுலின் ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ்ன்ற ஒரு இதுவே கிடையாது. கரெக்டா? இப்பதான் நம்மளுக்கு தான் அந்த மாதிரி ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் அது இது வந்துருச்சு இல்ல? அவங்க என்ன ஆகும்? இன்சுலின் நிறைய செக்ரேட் ஆகும், அப்ப பொட்டாசியம் ரெடியூஸ் ஆகும். ஸோ அதை யோசிச்சுதான் அப்பயே பழம் சாப்பிடணும்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்ல? மற்ற ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் வைக்க மாட்டாங்க, கவனிச்சிருக்கீங்களா? ஆழ்பால் மட்டும்தான் வைப்பாங்க. ரிச் இன் பொட்டாசியம். ஃபைன். Okay, so you won't forget, right?
Yes, ma'am.
சரி, இது மொக்கையா இருந்தா சாரி.
இல்ல மேம், நல்லா தான் மேம் இருக்கு.
ஏன் இது இவ்வளவு சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னா, you have to remember the dash diet. நம்ம மேட்டருக்கு வரும். ஓகே, dash diet, அதுக்கு தான் இந்த டயட் சொன்னேன். ஸோ இது மறக்க மாட்டீங்கல்ல. dash diet சாப்பாட்டுல பந்தி வைக்கிறப்ப ரிச் இன் பொட்டாசியம், மெக்னீசியம், கால்சியம். களி எல்லாம் சாப்பிடுவாங்க அந்த காலத்துல இல்லையா? கூட களி வைப்பாங்க கண்டிப்பா. மெக்னீசியம், கால்சியம் எல்லாம் நிறைய இருக்கும் களியில, ராகி இல்ல. ஸோ களி கூட என்ன சாப்பிடுவாங்க அந்த காலத்தெல்லாம்? நான் வெஜிடேரியன், வெஜிடேரியன், நான் வெஜிடேரியன் தெரியுங்க. என்ன சாப்பிடுவாங்க களி கூட? ஒரு கிரேவி கொடுப்பாங்கல்ல, ப்ரோட்டீன் ரிச் ட்ரைடு ஃபிஷ் கொடுப்பாங்கல்ல, குழம்பு.
கருவாடு மேம், கருவாடு மேம்.
ப்ரோட்டீன் நிறைய இருக்குமால, கரெக்டா? So your dash diet should be rich in potassium, magnesium, calcium, protein and fiber, low in fat. Okay, அவ்வளோக்கா நெய்யெல்லாம் ஊற்றிலாம் அந்த காலத்துல சாப்பிட மாட்டாங்க அப்படியெல்லாம். ஃபைன். That's why they don't have a high BP. நமக்கு தான் இருக்கு. So dash diet, can anyone repeat what is dash diet? Rich in
potassium ma'am.
Yeah. அப்புறம்
potassium, magnesium,
rich in fiber,
protein and low in fat. Yeah, good. Okay, then அப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணணும்? நான் pharmacological management is exercise. Okay, fine. Exercise, and then you should not take more alcohol intake, not more than 2 drinks. for men. Women more than 1 kg. Okay. So weight loss should be there, healthy diet, DASH diet, and sodium should be less. Optimum goal is sodium you should have only 1000 milligram, 1500 milligrams per day. Yeah. So potassium more money you have to take 3000 to 5000 milligram per day in potassium. Okay, so aerobic exercise you have to do, reduce alcohol consumption. Okay. So let's come to drugs. A, B, C, D. Right? What is A, B, C, D?
AC inhibitors, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers. And,
Okay. Then D.
Diuretics.
Which drug is not first line nowadays? I mean,
Beta
it's
blockers.
almost why?
Beta blocker.
Why?
Beta blockers.
Can anyone tell me why beta blockers, which was given
Causes
previously?
dyslipidemia.
No, that's not the answer. Actually, studies have told, many studies, large studies, more than 1 lakh of people with hypertension they have studied and concluded that beta blockers, if we give without CAD, patient as going in for sudden cardiac arrest without any reason. So they stopped giving that. And also other associated complications, whatever you told, dyslipidemia, glucose intolerance, like that. Okay. So they didn't give unless, and also it's not a first line drug, right? That's why I didn't give in primary agent. Okay.
Ma'am, is it first line in ischemic heart disease etiological agent?
Yeah, it's important. You have to give beta blockers in a patient with hypertension with ischemic heart disease. Okay.
Thank you.
So other drugs, what are all the other second line drugs? First line is diuretics is A, C, D, AC inhibitors, ARBs, and calcium channel blockers, and thiazide diuretics, not loop diuretics, which is first line, thiazide, chlorthalidone, like that, hydrochlorothiazide. Okay. What is the important side effect of thiazide diuretics? Can anyone tell me?
Increases blood sugar.
And loop diuretics. Yeah, fine. Then patient, you are given, you have started a thiazide diuretic. Patient is on thiazide diuretic, and he comes back again with a joint pain. It's joint pain in the
Hyperuricemia.
Hyperuricemia.
Very good.
Gout.
Very good. Gout. Hyperuricemia. Right? You have to check the patient's uric acid. Can anyone tell me why we have to check uric acid in hypertensive patients? Not particularly for thiazide diuretics, generally. Uric acid will be, what is that? If you have high uric acid, patient is associated with increased risk of ischemic heart disease or coronary disease or hypertension as it will develop. Fine. Studies have proved high systemic hypertension associated with high sensitive CRP elevation. Uric acid and CRP elevation. High sensitive, which are CRP and uric acid elevation. Fine. Okay. After the secondary agents are loop diuretics, potassium sparing diuretics, aldosterone antagonists, beta blockers, steric renin inhibitors, alpha 1 and other vasodilators. Right? These are the drugs. Okay. When will you start? Yeah. Can I see the slide? The guidelines. Can you see the slide? You have to check for 3 months non-pharmacological management. 3 to 6 months you have to reassess. If it is not controlling with non-pharmacological and lifestyle modification, you have to start the patient with the drug. How will you give? If the baseline BP itself is more than 15 millimeter HC based on their final goal, you have to start the patient with the AC inhibitors or calcium channel blockers or thiazide. But you should never give both AC and ARB, fine? It's either AC or ARB. Okay? Again, when will you start it directly to agents like ACBs with the calcium channel blockers, ACBs with thiazide? When will you start that is, and the systolic BP is more than 20, when the diastolic BP is more than 10 above goal BP. Okay, above goal BP is it should come less than 140 and less than 80. Okay, controlled with the 2 agents, you can start with the 3 agents, but if it is controlled even with 3 agents, it's defined as resistant hypertension. Okay, and avoid combining beta blockers and non-DHP CCB. What is non-DHP CCB? Can anyone tell me any drug?
Verapamil and diltiazem.
Yeah, very good. So these are all the goals. Depending on the conditions associated or depending on the age associated, this is the target BP. Suppose when the patient is associated diabetic multiplication, the BP should come down to 130 80. But if it is old age, you can, if it is more very 70, 80s now, patient itself has normal high BP. So you don't have the very stringent goal. Okay. If there is no associated cardiac disease or nothing, 140/90 itself is okay, fine. Okay, so you start the patient with antihypertensives, check BP, but patient requires more than 4 antihypertensives means, which includes a diuretic. Okay, more than 3 is resistant hypertension, which includes a diuretic. If at all, if with 3 drugs, if it is requiring a 4th drug, then you have to check for pseudo resistance. Okay, that time you have to go in for ambulatory BP monitoring. So and also you have to check for other drugs associated or interacting drugs which the patient is taking, like NSAIDs, amphetamine, and OCPs, like that. Okay. So next. Okay, also you have to screen for secondary hypertension, fine? Okay. What is hypertensive crisis? What is hypertensive emergency? Patient has
Systolic BP above 180 millimeters of mercury or diastolic BP above 120, and patient has target organ damage, that's hypertensive emergency.
yeah. So what are the conditions associated with that?
Hemorrhagic stroke and retinopathy.
No. You are saying that is conditions caused by accelerated.
Yes.
I'm saying what are the conditions associated with accelerated? Which condition causes high BP? Emergency hypertension.
Pheochromocytoma.
Yeah, pheochromocytoma and coarctation of aorta, or else in pregnancy means preeclampsia, like that. Okay. Conditions associated with hypertension emergency. How will you reduce the BP? There are, if these 3 main conditions are present, whatever I said, then if it is not there, you don't have to reduce abruptly. Okay. So reduce BP maximum by 25%, from the actual BP over 1 hour by giving IV injection. Can anyone tell me any drug, IV drug you will be giving for
Licardipine.
Labetalol.
Licardipine.
Labetalol we can use. Okay, IV labetalol is we are using now. If it is acute pulmonary edema, CAD, CCF is there, with accelerated hypertension, it can start by NTG drip, NTG infusion, nitroglycerin. Vasodilator, no? Okay. So it's we have started the drug. So after an hour, if the BP comes to 160 on 100, then reduce it to over 2 to 6 hours. Then you can slowly normalize the BP by taking intermittently over 24 hours. Suppose if these 3 conditions present, then reduce the BP within an hour to 140 millimeters. Fine. If it is aortic dissection, you have to reduce the BP to 120. Why we have to reduce the BP suddenly for these conditions? Pregnancy, preeclampsia, aortic dissection. Can anyone tell me?
Prevent hypertensive encephalopathy.
Okay, then Here also you can go in for hypertension and symptomology, right? What happens in pregnancy when you don't reduce the BP? Preeclampsia.
Seizures.
IUD, patient will go into health syndrome, seizures, IUD, okay? Seizures and then sudden death can occur if you don't reduce the BP.
Of the mother, ma'am.
Okay? Yeah. Both mother and baby. IUD occurs, sudden cardiac arrest can occur. Okay? Okay, fine. Go to next slide. Okay. Nicardipine you told no. It is contraindicated in aortic stenosis. You should not give in that condition. Fine. And can you see nitroglycerin, which is given an especially with ACS. Fine. So you should not give nitroglycerin in volume depleted patients. Okay. Only for volume overload patients. Okay. So then labetalol, can you see? You can give an hypertensive emergency. Hello? You guys can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can anyone tell me where AC inhibitors are contraindicated? Where you should not give AC inhibitors?
In CKD patients.
Pregnancy.
Bilateral renal artery stenosis.
Yeah, very good. Then, how many cases you saw bilateral renal? Very rare.
Pregnancy,
But
ma'am.
it's right. Yeah, okay. Then, most common you
Acute
don't know
and
just now.
Acute.
CKD is correct. But if it is chronic stable CKD, you can give. Suppose. It's a very basic clinical point for most practitioners, but anyway, I'll tell you. Okay. So, how will you, suppose you are assessing all the patients, all the hypertensive patients, the patient comes to you, you are doing all the investigations. The slides are over, only one or two, I think. It's only drugs. I'll tell you basic clinical points. Patient comes to you, okay, you are doing all the investigations, creatinine, potassium, everything normal. Why we have to check potassium before you start AC inhibitors? AC inhibitors will do raise in potassium, hyperkalemia. Okay. Can anyone tell me the site of the action of AC inhibitors? Where it will act? What is AC inhibitor?
It inhibits acetylcholine, angiotensin converting enzyme.
Lungs.
Okay, no.
Lung.
Lungs react பண்ணுது.
Ma'am, lungs produce the
enzyme எங்க போகுது?
angiotensin
Kidney
converting.
எங்க போகுது? கிட்னில என்ன இருக்கு? என்ன பண்ணுது? Angiotensin 2 release பண்ணுதா? So we are inhibiting that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it increases potassium. Yeah. Hypokalemia பதிலா hyperkalemia வருது. Yeah. Normal phenomena stop பண்றதுனால it's raising the potassium. So potassium should be normal before you start AC inhibitor. Also creatinine. Suppose the patient has come, all the indications are normal. It's a young patient. You are starting AC inhibitor. Right? Of course, for a young patient, you have to start AC inhibitors. Old age, more than 60 with isolated only hypertension, you can start a CCB. So no doubt now. It's not in the slide. Calcium channel blockers is started for old age people. Right? Diuretics and AC inhibitors are started for young patients, young hypertensive patients, those who are less than 30 years. Right? Okay. You have started AC inhibitor. How will you monitor the patient? Because it raises creatinine, right? AC inhibitors will raise creatinine. How will you monitor the patient? When will you ask the patient to come? How will you check? You guys are there, right? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am.
Okay. When will you ask the patient to come? How will you monitor the patient? After? You ask the patient to come after 6 weeks, fine? Whenever you are starting the very first time as a physician. Ask the patient to come after 6 weeks with the creatinine and potassium. And you have to have a baseline creatinine also when you start, before you start the drug. Okay? Fine? So, if there is 30% increase in serum creatinine from the baseline creatinine, you have to stop the drug. Otherwise, you can continue and monitor again after a month. Fine? With the monitoring of urine output. You have to inform the patient and you have to ask the patient to come again after 3 months. Then, if it is normal, it's okay. You can continue with AC inhibitor. Then 6 months once you can monitor. That's it. Fine? It's not given in the stat or books. It's a basic point. Okay, 30% increase in baseline creatinine, you have to stop the drug. Fine? Because AC inhibitors do increase creatinine and potassium. Okay? Okay, coming to diuretics also given for inpatients. They are those with less than 60 years with hypertension. Okay? Okay. Which drug you will give if the patient has coronary artery disease, hypertension? Patient has come with chest pain, acute ACS syndrome, acute coronary syndrome. Can anyone tell me, will you give antihypertensive beta blockers in that phase? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Why you should not start the drug? Very good. When will you start? Who told the answer?
Ma'am?
Hello? Who told the answer?
Ma'am, me, ma'am. Beta blocker should not be given, ma'am. Already.
I didn't know your name.
Dinesh,
Your
ma'am.
name. Okay, good. Why beta blocker should not be given in the acute phase and the patient comes with CAD, acute coronary syndrome.
Ma'am,
Especially with acute coronary.
we'll prefer nitroglycerin or nitrates, ma'am, instead of beta blockers because the heart rate will be already low, ma'am. So if you give beta blockers, the cardiac output will still reduce. So we'll prefer other drugs rather than beta
Why
blockers.
the heart rate should be reduced? It's a sympathetic overactivity beta, no? And the patient has pain, ACS. If it is going for attacking the inferior wall infarction with the SA node block, you can have reduced heart rate. Otherwise, you will have increased heart rate always. If the patient has chest pain. See, beta blockers, when you give CAD patient acute chest pain, it precipitates failure. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
My voice is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So it precipitates failure. You should not give, especially when the patient is in pulmonary heart failure, fine? Okay. You can give, but you have to start the beta blockers after 24 hours. Why we have to start beta blockers after, especially carvedilol, metoprolol. Some beta blockers has remodeling capacity is that. See, when the patient has left ventricle infarction, some valve will going for death, right? So, the remodeling, you have to prevent that remodeling. Why we have to prevent that remodeling? There will be dyskinesia. You should prevent that. You need a proper heart for contraction. So, AC inhibitors and beta blockers should be given. Okay? Especially AC inhibitors is important when the patient has ACS. Fine?
Okay, ma'am.
Reduces the left ventricular remodeling, right? Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys have any doubt? Anything? Okay, other drugs, calcium channel blocker, suppose if you are giving, what injection you will tell the patient? நீங்க கொடுக்குறீங்க amlodipine கொடுக்குறீங்க. Amlodipine is long acting or short acting? Can anyone tell me? How many hours action? Amlodipine? when you are giving calcium channel blocker, what instruction you will give for the patient? Otherwise, patient will come back and again shout at you. ஏன்னா கொஞ்சம் சென்சிட்டிவ் பேஷண்ட் பண்ணா 9 வந்து திரும்ப கேட்பாங்க, நீங்க இந்த மாத்திரையை போட்டதால தான் எனக்கு இப்படி ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னு.
Peripheral edema.
Pedal edema.
Pedal edema, ma'am.
Some patients will develop pedal edema. Sometimes எங்கேயாவது போய் குத்திப்பாங்க, இன்ஃபெக்ஷனே ஆயிடும், செல்லுலைட்டுக்கே வந்துடும். லேட்டா வந்தாங்கன்னா ஃபாலோ அப் வராம. So you have to instruct the patient. We don't know whether which patient will get. So you be careful. If you are developing, please come back to us. Otherwise, it's a very good drug. So we have to start and we have to instruct the patient. It's not easy when you practice. Fine. You have to tell each and everything. Otherwise, ask the patient to Google about the drug. They will know. They will do that. They themselves do everything, right? Okay. Is it okay? Fine. Let's finish off the class.
Ma'am, I was wondering how beta blockers precipitate heart failure.
How beta blocker? Okay. What is the action of beta blocker? Where it is acting?
Ma'am?
Where it is acting? Site of action. Beta blocker.
Beta 1 receptors.
Non-selective selective is there.
Non-selective.
Non-selective selective is there. And some has intrinsic sympathomimetic action is there. In some drugs you have sympathomimetic action, even though they are blockers. Okay.
Yes.
So studies have proved that due to that it precipitates the already gone for sympathetic overactivity. Due to increased heart rate, it precipitates failure. First point. It doesn't reduce the BP. It reduces the BP but doesn't correlate with the heart rate. Right?
Okay.
Studies are proved like that. Okay. And
So
other reasons is
it's only with beta blockers that have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity, ma'am?
Yeah, some beta blockers have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. Okay.
Only those can precipitate heart failure, ma'am?
Only those are, we don't know whether they have proved like that. If you give beta blockers in ACS, it precipitates heart failure. Studies have proved that. Because initially we gave, like 10 years back. Now only we are not giving. They have diagnosed and they have proved it precipitating, so we should not give. Okay. As far as I know, the reason is due to the sympathomimetic activity. Some beta blockers have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You guys have any doubt? Any doubts you have?
Ma'am?
Don't share the recording, fine? Okay. Because we can take it in our department, but don't share. Yeah. Tell me.
Can you hear me,
Yes,
ma'am?
ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear.
Ma'am, in the slide they have given enalaprilate should not be used in acute MI, ma'am, but we use no, ma'am. That's my doubt. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor.
No, you have to give. No, you have to give. Sorry. No, you have to give. Beta blockers are not giving. Okay. Easy in class you have to give. Prevent remorphing.
Okay.
If it's very low BP, you can't give. Suppose which wall infection you have hypotension?
Inferior wall MI.
Yeah. Why you are having hypotension? Which artery is affected? Okay, I mean which part of heart is affected? Inferior wall. Apart from that?
Lateral.
No. The same artery, whenever you are having inferior wall infarction, you have to rule out right ventricle wall infarction, especially RVMI. Inferior wall, it's not especially inferior wall. RVMI, you have hypotension. Okay. So RVMI mostly associated with the inferior wall infection or posterior wall infection because of the same arterial territory. Okay. So when there is right ventricle infarction, Right ventricle cannot pump the blood, so LV cannot get the blood from the lungs, so the output will be less, so the BP is low. Right? Can you get the point? Okay.
Okay.
You guys understand? Also, it attacks the SA node. So you do have heart block in that case. So especially when the patient comes with a chest pain, MI, if it is inferior or RVMI, you have to be very well with the heart rate low. You have to check for any heart block. Right? The patient has SA block, can go in for heart block because of the arterial supply for SA block, the same arterial supply. Okay. What is the time? Time and what?
250.
250 na.
50, ma'am.
Oh, 250, yeah. Okay. Is it enough? Fine, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Other slides என்ன இருக்கு வேற? அவ்வளவுதான்டா. மத்த எல்லாமே நான் இதெல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டேன். Can we wind up?
Ma'am, what reference is this, ma'am?
It's reference. I combined all the slides, so it's my note.
Okay.
ACS guidelines, American Heart Association guidelines, GNC I told you, Joint National Commission had guidelines for managing hypertension.
Okay.
See, nowadays you have to follow protocol. You have to treat the patient with the protocol only. You can't treat just like that. So you should know the protocol. Drugs. Whatever you are giving, you should know.
Okay.
It's not from any book. It's from the guidelines.
Okay.
I mean, part is from the book Harrison and also from guidelines. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. Go have break and start studying. Fine. Bye. Bye. How is the class? Good, right?
Nice, ma'am.
Is it okay?
Yes. Yes, ma'am, it was good.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.